Hey, what's up everyone? I am here to do a little video. I'm going to be getting into programming some blueprints for the character in Soul Recursion. I'm not really sure how this is going to go. I'm still pretty new to blueprints. But I'm going to show you guys what I'm doing and try to figure it out as I go. And I guess welcome to my adventure into blueprints. So basically, what I have right now, I'll just do a quick little demo. What I've got going on right now is this armor. So right now, Dawn has this armor. And I've got it linked up with all the sort of sockets that it's attached to for the skeleton. And it looks pretty good. I tried to not do like skin weights or anything with the armor because it's solid. I don't want it to really be stretching or anything. So it's all just kind of parented to some sockets and whatnot. So that's kind of, had the basics so far for it. But I wanted to add in basically I want Dawn to be able to like summon this armor. So I don't want it to be visible right off the bat. So kind of what I've already done and set up for now is this sort of material instance. And I'll kind of show a little bit of what's going on. It's really basic right now. It's practically just default stuff right now. But I'll kind of show what's going on. Let's see. Okay, so this material instance is kind of like a Materialize. And this is from a free pack that came out months ago. And it's like a Materialize material. But maybe I'll just show you instead of trying to use words. And basically what's going on is there is this fader that is allowing the armor to fade in and fade out. So as we can see, Dawn has no armor. She does some sort of cool thing and it digitally comes in and fades in. So basically right now, I know I have this variable right here that I'm going to need to be able to address in blueprints. So that when I call some sort of action, we play this value from 0 to 1. And basically what I have right now is the basic setup for how that works. We've got a timeline. The timeline is driving that value from 0 to 1. Actually, I kind of really like this middle section where it's green. So I'm going to add another key. And once it starts working, this we'll be able to get this really dialed in. But for now, I'm just going to do something like that. And we have this material instance. So I know I'm going to be addressing this somehow because I need to get this value. I need to be able to change this, this value right here from 0 to 1. Right now I'm going to leave it as 1 just so when we're debugging stuff we can see it. Okay, so let's see. The first thing I know, and I'm kind of guessing, like I said, I am kind of straight up guessing on how to do this. So we'll go into the event graph. I'm going to just make this its own section right now and call this Materialize armor. And right now I'm just trying to make it work. Eventually I'll clean this up so that it works with multiple different armors. And that'll probably just be setting variables for these rather than it being the one-to-one. But right now, these are all the different pieces of armor. And as we can see here, there is an associated socket that's on the actual skeleton. So if we go into the skeleton, I guess we can just do it the roundabout way. So in this skeleton, there are these sockets that I've created that are basically there to host the different plates of armor parented to certain bones. And the reason I'm using sockets is because I eventually want to be able to attach and detach different armors to those same sockets. So I'm kind of just putting in a placeholder geometry for now, because I know I'm going to want to be able to use those sockets with different geometry. So that's kind of why I'm going the socket route instead of actually just, skin weighting it to the skeleton itself. So right now, these basically are all attached to sockets. They're all individual mesh. And right now, all of them have this material instance on it. And that's kind of why we were able to see what we were able to see earlier by changing that value from 0 to 1. So in the event graph, this dynamic material, I'm guessing, I'm not positive, but I'm pretty sure this target has to be this. The trick is my first reaction is to do something like this, to create. Well, let's just do. I'm gonna just test something real quick. I want to make sure that this actually is gonna work. So I'll do it with one first. Target. I think. Well, to create this material instance, I want to do that right off the bat, right? I want this to be something that happens on begin play. And I can call if I set this armor equals whatever this return value is. And that's setting the variable for the material instance itself. And then, so I think what we can do is disconnect this. Take this out here. Actually, I'm just gonna delete that. Copy this. Paste this there. Okay, so that's creating the dynamic material and then setting that dynamic material to this variable armor, which we're going to pull from down here. So let's get rid of this because I want that to happen right off the bat, right on begin play. And to play this, I'm just going to steal this for now, just to debug. Take this K, and let me disconnect this too, because I don't want to set off that. So, and this was debugging stuff that I figured out, so we'll delete that. Okay, so theoretically, when we press K, I believe it's supposed to be on update. When we press K, hopefully it will do the chest armor. I'll just do this for now, because I think I'm going to need some sort of array for all of those, but I don't know. We're just going to test to see if this works. So press play. Okay. And hit K. Nothing. Okay. Well, let's do a few things first. Does this need to be that? The material instance? That's a source material. Well, let's first make sure that this is actually a variable that's in this. Okay, so we're gonna name this. Oh yeah, it's here. Oh, just to be safe, we'll call this MI for material instance armor. Let's delete this one. Okay, whatever. And then let's take that armor, make sure that's the target. Because we want that. Let's see if we print this. Print string, let's just make sure we're getting something when we hit K. Because if it doesn't pass through, then we know it's getting hung up somewhere. Hello, hello, hello. Whoa. That should only be happening when hitting K. What's going on here? Maybe play from start. Okay, so sorry, I keep getting this weird thing, so if anyone knows what's going on, I updated my NVIDIA drivers, and now sometimes, periodically, when I click one of these menus, it goes black, or it fades through, and then there's nothing I can do. I have to save and close. I'm sure we'll see it again. But also, while I was debugging that, I figured out what was going on. Part of the reason it wasn't working was actually because I had a hunch that it had something to do with this. And it turns out I was just missing the mark on exactly what needed to happen here. I was right. I needed to get that material instance here. And then once it has that material instance, I was able to turn this into a variable. And then now I can call that variable down here as the target. So now that works to a certain degree. Let me compile this and kind of show. Let's get rid of this one because now we're going to just kind of be debugging a little bit. When I hit K, we see the chest piece because right now we just have the chest piece. It kind of flashes a little bit. So we can work this out. We can work the timing out once we get going. But I also want to figure out how to get the rest of the geometry in here. Because right now it's just finding the chest armor. And I'm thinking that like if I change this, and this might honestly just be because I don't know enough about how to do this, so this might be the super not best way to do it. Let's see, and then oops, let's take this out. Well, first let me see if it'll do 2. If it does 2, then I might be able to hook them up all, but let's see. It didn't. Okay. So I think what I might need to do is I think I need an array of some sort. So I think I can create a variable, and I know this needs to be a mesh actor. static mesh actor, object reference, and then I can make this I don't know what the difference is between I know with an array I can compile this and do a bunch of different ones. My question though is, will it do all of them? We'll see. Array. Okay, wait a second. Hold on. Okay. But the question is, will it pull just one at a time? I don't know. What? You gotta be able to do more than that. Come on now. Oh, I was being impatient. Okay. So we have, oh my god, that's so many. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Perfect. Oh, okay. This is a rather large array. I hope this works, because that would be super cool. I'm reluctant, but I don't know. I think it might only take one. Oh wait, I missed one. What did I do? So there's only 12? Okay. Okay. So now we have this massive array because I want to make sure to tell this dynamic material instance that it's getting all these. So I think I need to get a copy because I don't, let me just check. I don't think this array goes, yeah. Get a copy. And let's go in here. See, it's asking for 0. So if this is right, 0 means it's gonna do the shoulder pad. Let's see. I don't think that's exactly what I need. So we hit K. Yep, just the shoulder pad, not everything. Okay, close. But no cigar. Maybe this for each loop looks like it could work. Let's see what it does. So we pump that array in there. Oh wait, not to get a copy, we just want the actual array itself. And then array element. Okay, let's see. If this works, this might be a better method long term, because then I can just set a tag instead of having to reference directly. So first of all, let's just see if this works. Okay, we hit K. Nothing. Wait a second. Ooh, that's probably why. Let's see, what does it say? at this point in time, I really hit a wall. It was just not working out. Trying to do that array while doing the for loop did push out all the actors that I wanted, but that material node was only taking one item or one actor, which kind of led me to believe I probably had to do it on an individual level. And that's when I kind of leaned into the idea of just making each one of those pieces of armor their own blueprint, and that seemed to work out pretty well. So I'm gonna do a fast little speed run thing, show you real fast what's going on, and then we'll address exactly what's going on after that speed run. Okay, and we are back. At this point, you've watched a sped up version of all the different failures I went through and eventually got to a success. And pretty much it's very different than what we started out with, because that array of geometry, trying to mash that all into this create dynamic, wasn't working. So what I ended up doing was taking that code essentially and pumping it into each individual mesh that's turned into its own blueprint. And then I can just assign that blueprint to those same sockets. So basically I'm testing on the chest piece first. And we can kind of see this work real quick. So right now it's hooked up to a super basic, just button press. Eventually it'll be sort of a magic power thing, but when you hit the button, you can see the chest piece come in, and after a certain amount of time, the chest piece goes away. And what's driving that delay is actually a variable that I set up beforehand, this armor time, because I know I'm going to want to be able to set this armor time longer for if you get some buffs. I want to make sure that you can keep the armor on longer, considering that armor is going to basically add damage. And I won't really get to the add damage on this tutorial, but eventually you'll see it. So I set that variable up knowing that I was going to need it later. So let's go a little bit into this a little bit further, and we'll start to clean this up. So the first thing that I'm doing is I'm setting the material to a fully transparent material, because I want off the bat, as soon as this geometry enters game mode or whatever, I want it to seem like it's not there. So it's just a fully transparent material, and I'm setting that material right off the bat. And then right after that, we are casting to that third person player basically. And with this setup, it's just this third person player. You can see it here. This is this basically right here. And this is where we're going to be linking up those blueprints anyway. So I'm casting to that. And what I'm pulling from this is like one of my new favorite things to do. They're these event dispatchers. I really like them. They're a really nice way to talk between. I've been getting into interfaces a little bit, and I want to learn how to use them a little bit better. But right now I'm kind of comfortable with these event dispatchers. So as we can see in here, this really simple trigger. I was working with flip-flops, but I thought I kind of want it to be automated when the armor turns off, because the length of time that you get to keep the armor is a good buff to be able to add in. So basically when you press this key, and this will be an action input at some point, so it's not just a key, but that's what's kind of nice about these event dispatchers, because I'm just calling this super easy, calling this, and then from here I can go ahead and pull that. So I bind that event dispatcher, and basically it's just waiting for a message. As soon as it gets that, it actually fires off a custom event, which is super cool. So now these individual blueprints can talk directly with the player character. And what's cool from here as well is once you cast, you can get anything that's on your player character. So like for instance, if I wanted the AI type that is a variable here, once you cast and get a successful cast, you can say get AI type. See? And then you've got this variable to play around with. And that's exactly how I was able to extract armor time. And so when we're firing off this new event, this is where it got a little bit tricky, but I'm going to go through it as I clean it up. So we basically we're switching out materials at this point. So when this event fires off, we're going from this set material from the beginning of play, and now we're setting it to that instance. And the instance is basically what has that effect, that the dematerialize and the materialize. And at that point, what's happening is we're basically setting up this timeline to drive a value. And we address that value here. And basically the value we're addressing at this point is basically the slider that says the materialize amount. And this is directly from the actual material instance itself. So right here, materialize amount, we're just addressing that in this little node. And the value of this from 0 to 1, we are using a timeline to basically, I don't know if interpolate is the exact word, but kind of interpolate that value from 0 to 1 on a curve. And that's what's driving that value that we just addressed. Where did it go? Oh, I always forget that. Okay. And then once that timeline is done, we're setting the material to a common material. And what's cool about this is this material right here can just be the material that I actually like paint and create. Right now I'm just using a super basic material, but now I can go in and actually texture that correctly or more detailed, and it sets it back to that material. That way we are not using up all the resources of that material instance constantly. And then here's the delay. This is basically how long you get to keep the armor. I'm gonna do something a little more like that, just clean it up a little bit. So this delay, actually, I'm gonna probably put a comment here just to give myself some heads up later. We're gonna do this like armor time buff. And then once it's completed, we basically do the same thing but in reverse. So we go in here and we say, hey, let's reset that material, because here we set the material to the regular material. But now we want that instance material again. So after that is completed, we set that material again and we play the timeline. And this time the timeline has a curve that's going from 1 to 0. And that's driving that value for that again. And then at the end, we're setting that material again to the transparent. So basically it's a big old loop, right? We start out, we set that material to the transparent. We cast to the third person or the player character so we can get all the variables that we want from this script to drive this individual blueprint. And then we use a curve to drive these values. We have a timer here for how long we get to keep the armor. And then when that delay runs out, we reverse everything. And we can kind of see this happen again. So when I hit K, we turn on the armor, we wait however long that buff is, and then our armor goes away. Cool, so at this point, now we can start doing all the super tedious stuff of taking this. Let's get rid of these, I don't need those for now. Taking this big old blueprint, actually it's not big, but taking that, and now we're going to apply it to these other blueprints. So we were just working on the chest. So let's go into the net guard. And I'm just going to delete this because that's sort of like a basic version of this. So same thing. Going to start that off. The only thing is this has that. So instead we're going to set that. Okay. And then we have to do it again here. Wish I could just do it. Oh, awesome. Thank you, Unreal. That makes my life easier. Just drag that. Boop. Make that that. Make that. Change node that. Let's make sure we have that on the other one. Awesome. Super useful. Okay. Compile. Should be good. Let's run this. Cool. Now we don't have the neck or the chest. Let's go ahead and hit K. We materialize. It's there. We wait, and it goes away. Perfect. Hit escape. No errors. We are in the clear. Dope. And so now we just go through and do the same thing over and over and over again for all those pieces. And the reason I'm doing this is even though it's kind of a pain in the butt, I want to be able to have different armor that goes through the same process that's triggered by the player character, basically. So let's go into the shoulders. Same thing. Just get rid of this. And that, don't need it. Paste that. Where'd begin play go? Link that, and now we do this. Boop. That is so nice. I like that. Just drag and drop, change it. Change it. Make sure we change all these variables. Hit compile. Let's double check, make sure it works. Cool, no shoulder pads. Looking correct. Hit K. They come in. Wait. And they're gone. Perfect. Cool. Well, I guess at that point, I'm just going to keep going, and I'll probably just do a speed play of getting the rest of this set up. So, it looks like at this point everything is working to a level where I can start really playing around with the values and taking it to the next level. But as we went through that little speed run, basically, here's sort of the end product as of this little demo. So we hit the button, we hit some sort of trigger, and it goes away after a certain amount of time that we can designate. And there we go. So I guess I'll take a quick second to just kind of go through what's going on. We'll look at this. So we've got all these sockets. And these sockets hold the place for the different mesh. Well, actually, it's a blueprint that has a mesh component in it. And I just assign the blueprint to the socket that holds the blueprint in place. And I am sending out a what are they called again? Oopsies. The event dispatch. And in each one of these blueprints, I'm binding that to carry out the rest of the function. So this is kind of the starting place for really customizing what this feature is going to be. But it really kind of sets the stage for how I want this game to be played. So you can, once you get certain pieces, once you get certain armor, you get different types of buffs, and you can summon special mech armor. And depending on what you collect, you can summon different armors that give you different powers. So cool. That's kind of where we're at for now. Go ahead and save things, and I guess till next time. Bye.